This isn't a forest. This isn't a temple. This is an airport, and it could change the fate of an entire country. At least that's what the government and the architects are hoping for. It's located here, on the outskirts of Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia. Now, Cambodia is a country full of natural beauty and rich culture, but it's also been marred by civil wars, violence, and extreme poverty. Fortunately, that is all beginning to change. Cambodia is now the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia and the third fastest in Asia overall. The nation's capital has now set its sights on becoming a major player in the region, and it's all starting with this $1.2 billion new airport. So how can an airport reinvent a whole country, you might ask? Well, it's been done before, quite a few times. Now, clearly, this is not just your average airport. It's breathtaking. Before we talk about what it wants to achieve, we're going to talk to you a bit about how it was built. The first thing you notice is this canopy that's meant to resemble the jungles of Cambodia. There are trunks that reach up and shield visitors from the sun with their branches. Instead of leaves, steel blossoms outward, forming a screen that filters the light. It also references the country's vernacular architectural style, like these thatch roofs made from sugar palms. The canopy borrows cooling techniques from those designs as well. These traditional huts use two indigenous methods of ventilation to keep cool. The first, stack ventilation, is where cool air enters through the lower part of a building and pushes hot air up and out through gaps in the roof. The second is cross ventilation, which achieves the same effect but through gaps between the roof and the walls. The cool air in effect pushes the hot air out. Now, temperatures in Phnom Penh frequently rise as high as 40 degrees Celsius during the hottest months, so keeping cool is a must. By borrowing from these natural cooling techniques, the airport won't have to rely on as much air conditioning, the cardinal sin of most of our modern glass and stainless steel structures. Instead of using sugar palms, the canopy is made of a lightweight steel grid shell supported by structural trees that span 36 metres. This single canopy covers the entire airport. These artificial trees effectively scale the concept of stack and cross ventilation, using cool air that enters through openings to push the hot air out of the terminal. The canopy is made of a crosshatch material that filters the harsh summer sun while lighting the vast airport. The interior building appears different as the sun moves throughout the day, and it's beautiful. It's an incredible example of how light can be used to elevate a space. This isn't just an airport, it's a gateway to an entire country. The terminal will be flush with trees and greenery throughout, and they'll play their own role in keeping the building cool as plants release water vapour through their leaves. In fact, this airport has aims to be one of the greenest in the world. It'll be run almost entirely on energy generated from on-site solar panels. This massive open space is where all the passenger processing, security and immigration, and shops are going to be. Stretching out from the main building are piers where the terminals are going to sit. They're aerofoil shaped like an enormous boomerang or aeroplane wing so as to optimise walking distances. Construction works here are well on the way to completing, but this is only phase 1. Before we tell you about the rest of Cambodia's 25-year master plan for this airport, we need to talk about today's video sponsor. These days, running any business, airport or not, is increasingly expensive and complicated. It can feel like you're being pulled in 100 different directions, and time is always of the essence. That's where Odoo can help. Instead of having to keep track of endless apps that all work in isolation, Odoo is an all-in-one management software that's quick and intuitive. You can replace all of your subscriptions in just one platform to help you manage your whole business. But if you're still not convinced, Odoo lets you use your first app for free, for life. Making a website with Odoo couldn't be any easier. It's just 4 simple steps. Define your goals, choose a colour palette, add your pages and features, and choose your theme. And there you go. In less time than it takes to buy an overpriced airport coffee, you have a professional website up and running. From there, it's easy to customise using their drag and drop feature with ChatGPT built in and a huge range of images available through Unsplash. And for the first year, Odoo will even give you a free custom domain. To try Odoo for free, click the link in the description. Now, let's head back to Cambodia and give you a bit more detail on where things are heading. Once finished, Phase 1 is going to allow the airport to accommodate between 13 and 15 million passengers and around 175,000 tonnes of cargo each year. It'll be F4 class, the highest in the class of an airport. This means it can accommodate large aircraft with extensive requirements, like runways over 3,000 metres in length, suitable for the biggest passenger and cargo planes. Phase 2 will expand the airport, adding a second aerofoil wing to the terminal by 2030 and increasing passenger capacity up to 30 million. There's space for this second pier to be constructed on the other side of the building. Now, the airport's being built on a 2,600-hectare site in the southern Kandal and Takeo provinces, about 20 kilometres from the capital, Phnom Penh, so there's loads of space to expand. A third and final phase will see the airport grow its capacity to 50 million passengers by 2050, making it comparable to the roughly 42 million passengers who use Singapore's Changi Airport each year. Now, that comparison is important because it reveals Cambodia's endgame. The phrase "second Singapore" is thrown around a lot. Singapore is the economic miracle of Southeast Asia. Despite its lack of natural resources and small size, the country is the most prosperous in the region. It wasn't that long ago that Singapore was a relatively poor country and Phnom Penh was considered the jewel of Asia. Singapore's first Prime Minister reportedly said, "I hope one day my city will look like this," when visiting Phnom Penh in 1967. Fast forward to today, and Singapore is thriving. That's all thanks to low taxes, a business-friendly reputation, and a strategically placed international airport that's opened up the city to the world. Singapore is located here, almost exactly in the middle of Southeast Asia. Thanks to this, Changi Airport is one of the largest transportation hubs on the planet. It sees roughly 500,000 flights every year from 100 different airlines, all travelling to destinations in Asia, Australia, Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and North America. The airport famously contains an 8-acre garden complete with the world's tallest indoor waterfall. This 5-storey forest is entirely encased in a 144,000 square foot steel and glass donut structure. You can see where Takeo International Airport gets its inspiration from. In many ways, Singapore really does connect the world, and you should never underestimate the power of connection to fuel an economy. In fact, it's a model Dubai closely followed with its own international airport, again positioned strategically between Europe, Asia and Africa. Dubai too has used its airport to diversify its economy, attract tourism and boost trade. By 2014, this aviation hub had created over 400,000 jobs and contributed more than $26 billion to the economy. That alone accounted for 27% of Dubai's entire GDP. Both of these cities used their airports as connectors between opposite sides of the globe. They boosted trade and increased tourism, both things that are driving Cambodia's economic resurgence. It's illustrated in the massive boom Cambodia's aviation industry is currently experiencing. The country's 3 international airports have received more than 3 million passengers combined in the first half of this year alone. That's a 22% increase from the same time last year. The country's aviation authorities predict the industry could grow by a remarkable 67% from pre-pandemic levels in 2019. To help move things along, this country has been implementing an open sky policy. It's an initiative that aims to bring in more international airlines by reducing restrictions on air traffic rights, increasing the number of flights, and allowing more freedom for airlines to choose their routes and frequencies. It's been a key part of helping Cambodia grow its air traffic, boosting tourism and trade as well. The rest of the world wants to be in business with Cambodia, and Cambodia needs an airport to match. This airport, while looking spectacular and taking advantage of ingenious design solutions, also has the capacity to expand as Phnom Penh does. We've seen it time and again, whether it's Dubai or Singapore, infrastructure really does facilitate growth. While a single building can't change the fate of a country, it can push it towards its destiny. This video was sponsored by Udo. You can learn more about that at the link below. Don't forget that we're inspiring the next generation of builders through our investment into Brickborrow, a fantastic LEGO subscription service. You can learn more and get started today over at brickborrow.com. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to check in to the definitive video channel for construction, make sure you're subscribed to the B1M.